Hi, Bobby.
Hi, how are you? I just got a text from Gianluca. He's having trouble getting in and needs credentials. What does he need? Because I just used the link from the website. Do you have any idea what I could send him to help him get in?
Yeah, I had the same problem actually. He has to. I'm sending a link in the chat. You can share
Oh,
this with him.
okay, great. Thank you. I have to get on LinkedIn. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. Okay, let me get to the chat. Zoom. So many windows. Chat. Uh, Show my computer in a second. Uh, Okay, I sent that to him. Oh, I'm sharing my screen, so I guess you figured that out.
Yeah, he's in the meeting right now.
There we go. Okay, good. Sorry about that slow start today. Hi, everybody. So I don't know where Arunima is, or what she's been up to. Oh, there she is. Perfect timing. So we can get started. I had an interview last time with Nico, who, Gianluca, if you want, I think it's the recording is on the YouTube channel. He was very informative because again, he walked through his entire experience from from an idea to incubation all the way through to a graduated project. Now, when the TOC meeting, when these two projects got graduated, that's improper English, but when they reached graduated status, they both approached it pretty different. And from a TOC standpoint, they should have had the same information in the same format for us so we could actually just focus on the information, and not trying to figure out what they were saying where. So here's some of the interview questions. He said that it was a rough start when, and this is just my take on the interview. When Firefly came into the TOC, we really didn't have our guidelines for what requirements were to get into the labs, to get out of the labs, to get into incubation, to get out of incubation, to get into graduated, and to stay in graduated. And although I think as a TOC in the past 2 years, we've really come a long way in defining those, I do not think that we in any way have documented or portrayed them to the people who need them so that they're available. So Nico kind of expressed the same thing. Like when they came in, it was almost like the TOC didn't really know what we were asking of them to move through this cycle. Now that we know, I think the documentation task force has to get that out there. And how we do that is something we're going to talk about in a little while, when we're going over the presentation. So he thought about that. That was his rough start. Documentation he found, he wants to, he tried to make GitHub as easy as possible for his project because he I guess came into, and I don't know how many of you have tried to take the Fabric Administrator course or the Fabric Developers course. I monitor the forums for the Linux Foundation for those two courses, and I'll tell you right now, 90% of my questions are setting up the system and not actually using a blockchain. And I think that's a big problem with Hyperledger. And I think that that's one of the things that Firefly overcomes, is because they're not giving, they're kind of like leasing blockchain space and working on the middle layer of the tech stack for you. And so they're approachable and 2 clicks away or 3 clicks away, which is what I really like for everything. He said that there was no clear guidance for what to use for him for the GitHub repository, Gianluca. They just did what they felt they wanted to do. He said that he would have liked clear instructions. He did not know that Hyperledger pays for Make the Docs, and that Make the Docs is something that he would have used with the when he was doing his GitHub repository, if he knew it was available. So again, our guides to the maintainers would more be to show them, use Make the Docs. This is what has to be in there. Here's a template for it, and I think I found on the TOC calls recently that a lot of the best practices and the security task force, the templates, they come in 2 parts. They come in a template and then how to use the template, which is kind of, I guess, where we're going to, because you can't just give them the GitHub repository blank template and not a guide on what needs to be in it. And although we don't have to, those are already created, we just have to point dashboard the maintainers to the information. Again, all this information exists. It just isn't where it's supposed to be in a library. I envision the maintainers or the community going to the library that we're going to create, whether it's in Wiki or GitHub, or my preference would be the metaverse, and have it almost like, I don't know if any of you have seen the Harry Potter movies, but when you walk into this library and you type your question, the whole library shifts so that it shows the books that you need and nobody, all the other books, so that like it's kind of like a customized library for your question. And then that question would be, again, we'd probably have that AI engine back there trying to figure out where all the books and all the reading materials for that question are, and paint the UI so that it looks like a new library, but that's, way down the road. And again, so he said that he didn't know when he wanted to move his project out of incubation into graduated, how to do it. He had to ask around for a while, and it took him a while. And it's actually, you have to open an issue in the TOC GitHub repository, make a proposal to the make a PR from that Hyperledger improvement protocol proposal. And then that will tell you what needs to be included. And again, this is where I think also needs to be defined a little. During the presentation to get to the TOC, it was Cactus and Firefly had 2 very different approaches. And again, if you want to see the different approaches, it's recorded on the YouTube channel for the TOC meeting last week, or 2 weeks ago. So again, these are just his things that, again, I think we're answering to all of these. The badging, again, I'd like to see everybody who comes into the community, as soon as you get an email, you automatically get a wallet, and you get some, let's call them hypers or tokens or ledgers or whatever you want to call them. And every time you learn or do something, that value, you increase your value in the community, and you can use it to get courses or swag or whatever. But I think everything should be tokenized. Where are we here? So he didn't find, here's the thing that we could think about while we're going over the presentation, which threw a curveball in my thinking, was I thought, okay, great, you're going to maintain over a project, you're going to come in, you're going to go to your dashboard, you're going to see what you have to do in your GitHub repository, you're going to see how your documentation, there'll be a button there for create documentation, which will bring you to our create documentation where we supply you AI tools for that whole thing. He said he doesn't come into the community in his daily workflow. He just goes to his GitHub repository and works. He doesn't come into the community unless he's arranging for a call or something on the wiki page. So we either have to make those dashboards really attractive that it entices them to log into them, or think of a different way to get this information out there. Just a thought. And then could you see tokenizing? It would be cool to not just talk about the tokenizing, but using it. But he doesn't think it's necessary. He's afraid of the chat engines. They've been using them a little bit over at Firefly, and they find that the information is coming out as flat, one-dimensional, and not always accurate, which is with any AI engine. It's not, it really doesn't know what you want. It just thinks it does. So that's something to watch out for. And that basically sums up the presentation. I didn't mean to take so much time going over that. So we'll go over the presentation. We'll have Arunima just start where we are. I do think I did set up with the TOC that we're going to present on October 12th. That is not the presentation we're going to do for the meetup. The meetup groups, that's going to be a huge one. This is just to the TOC, and I don't think Arunima, they want to do our little, how did you spend your summer vacation? They just really want to see the recommendations from the task force to see if they're approved. And once we get those approvals, we can go ahead with that great presentation to the community. We'll work on that.
Okay, I got it.
I really want to focus though on that presentation. So I'm going to turn this call over to you. Just let me see if I have anything else. TOC, so that's on the 12th. As soon as we get approval from the TOC, we can move to the meetup dates. I have to write Min an email this week to find out if she wants us to offer what we've come up with after the TOC approves it to the mentors so that they can get a jump on it before November. And I don't know anything about the global forum. We're going to go over the presentation and discuss the next steps. So I'm going to turn my mic off and turn the rest of this over to Arunima, who can go through the presentation, talk to you.
Bobby, actually, I just have a interview within 15 minutes. Can we just plan a presentation for tomorrow or day after tomorrow? Anytime works for me.
Oh, tomorrow I'm out. I can do Wednesday.
Okay, sure. We can have a meet on Wednesday.
Okay, and we can still, I'm going to still go over the presentation kind of right now so that we in a way just know what we have to work on for Wednesday. And if people can't make Wednesday, we'll go over their stuff right now, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. I can watch at the recording. If I have to leave after 15 minutes, I will watch the recording and go through the
Right,
content.
so then I'll put it on my screen then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Bobby.
Oh, no worries. I'll do it on my screen. Okay, so again, I will do the one for the TOC based on whatever the standing is of this one. So basically for the TOC, we just have to take out what I did for my summer vacation and just give them the information. So I will format that one, but I still want this one to be the one that everybody's working from. And again, this is the link that's in our, on the wiki page. Let me get to the top. Oh, I just put some slides in when I was at the TOC of the different formats that Cactus and Firefly used to approach getting into graduated. And again, from a TOC perspective, that's more what they care about in the community documentation than user guides or outward. They really want the maintainers to get this right because they feel that everything flows from the correctness in the GitHub repository, which is true. So if we start, hello, this is our presentation. Yes. Okay. And Arunima, you worked on why we're doing this. I have to apologize. My mouse is like off a little. I'm gonna have to use my keyboard. Hold on a second. I have to recalibrate my mouse. It's like off a few inches. It's driving me insane. Okay, so now we'll just use this. Okay, so this is basically the introduction slide. Oh, perfect. where we're going to just talk about what the goals and the objectives were for this. And then this is a great slide to keep in for the TOC. This is what they need to know too. Next slide is the objectives. So this is really the meat of what we're doing. Yep, perfect. Wait, are these the same ones? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get rid of one of those and fix that up. And this is where this is going to be a hidden slide. Oh, it already is hidden. Good. So then we're just going to go over the different sections. So we'll start with Gianluca. Now, Gianluca, there's two parts here. The first part is the GitHub part and how you're going to assist the maintainers in whatever we decide. But your AI stuff at the end, I'm so excited for that, but that's a different conversation. So what do you, for these slides, again, I didn't get there, hold on. Where are you at? What do you need assistance from us from? And how can we help?
So when last time, I remember last time or 2 weeks ago, we tried to talk about this slide. I also correct the different status, and I think it's a simple but effective slide because this slide I'd like to talk about the different status and also the fact that the our tools can become in incubation status and also pass to graduated, and so a sort of win the product
Life cycle.
status, life cycle. So in my opinion, the talk on this slide could be easy and effective, in my opinion. If someone can support me, I I will be happy, but I don't know.
Yes. So
It
what I
isn't.
can do this week, because I have time this week to get some stuff done, I can back up each one of these things with a link to where the maintainers would find it and have our recommendation be, the maintainers can go, this will either be on their dashboard or whatever, but here is links so that they know, what they need to do. Again, because I didn't know, I'm on the TOC and I didn't even know that in order for a project to get out of incubation, they had to do a PR. I didn't know that. I just thought they emailed the TOC. So again, there's steps in here that need to be lined up with the stages, and I'll do some of that this week so that next week you and I can go over the slide and see if it works for you, if that is helpful.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I will back this up because again, I'm on the TOC and they're constantly requiring different things for different stages. And I'm I know where each one is stored. So I probably would be able to do this the easiest because I'm watching these different requirements change and grow weekly on the calls. Okay, so my mouse worked. Okay, we're up to Tripur. Any info for us? Any comments so far or changes you'd like to see to this presentation?
Actually, I was not present in the last meeting, but I do watch the recording, and I think we are doing what he mentioned is missing from like what he like thought that should be there, and all the templates and all the things we are already working on it. So I think that we are in the right direction, and I will make the changes to PPT, and I will go through it once if I think that there should be something. And I want to ask that what we are thinking about Gitbook, Bobby. Like, do I need to add a slide about it? Like, we are recommending that or not? Because you have been, like, did you get the chance to go through it?
I did, and I had a free membership for a week, and then I don't have a free membership anymore, kind of. But then they told me I could continue to use the product, but it doesn't have any features. So I didn't really get a chance to dive in and see what it does. But I'm under this understanding from the TOC meetings that they would prefer they stick to make the docs at this point, even though it's so much harder.
Okay. So do I need to like include the other presentation that I made for the make the docs in this one?
Yes. I would definitely do the presentation you made for Make the Docs, and if you could even just make it even shorter and quicker for the maintainers, you know, so that they can see it really on this presentation succinctly, real quick, you know, precisely, that would be great. And then I would suggest absolutely at the end, when you say this is our recommendation because it's a paid tooling policy from Hyperledger, but
Yeah.
you say, I like GitBooks better. I think GitBooks is easier. I think it's cheaper. You should say that is your recommendation. But technically, the process can't change overnight. So
Yeah.
for our presentation, we have to stick with Make the Docs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I
but I
love the
definitely want you to say what you think of GitBooks, because I agree that Make the Docs is ridiculously cumbersome.
Yeah, and it's kind of more expensive than what Gitbook is like what we take from Gitbook. So yeah,
Yeah, so say this is
economical.
what we're doing, but this is what I suggest.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, let's see where we are. And again, just stick the slides, whatever slides you want, right in that section there, and we'll be great.
Okay.
Any other questions or anything you want to change? Let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching the video. That's nice. Okay, we're up to Kajal.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, how are you?
Am I audible? I'm very good. I worked on the PPT, added some slides, and currently I'm working on reviewing the templates, like the 4 or 5 categories of templates we have. And so I'm revamping the templates. Like Bobby, I had some doubt in the previous meet. You told something about a dashboard, maintainer, contributor, and a mentor dashboard. So, like, I would like to know what is that about,
Okay,
because
I'll show you. So in my head, everything should be done with the dashboard. Everything should be 2 clicks away for everybody. And if we have these wiki pages and personas, we should be able to figure out what everybody needs to see. So what I did was this is a community architect team page, and this working group kind of isn't active, but still kind of keeps ideas here. So feel free to edit these pages, add pages, do whatever you want to these pages. We're open to all ideas. So I put this here just as an idea. And again, I was deflated when I heard that Nico really wouldn't use it. So I kind of thought it would look something like this. So you come into Hyperledger and you type, who are you? Are you a maintainer? Are you a code contributor? Are you a community contributor? Or you're just curious? You have no idea why you're here. You just heard about Hyperledger and you're curious. So I kind of thought that these would be 4 different dashboards. So like for the maintainer, I don't know if we're going to be able to zoom in on this with my... No, of course not. Anyway, so for the maintainer, there's that one piece I put in there would represent like your documentation pie, and is your GitHub repository, does your contributor guides, and are your courseware for people to use your product, are they all done? And I always envisioned like the tokenization working with the dashboard, so that again, you're a maintainer, you get into the community, you get some ledger. As soon as your contributor guides are done, you get more ledgers or more hypers. And as soon as your GitHub repositories are made into Make the Docs with the recommended fonts and graphics, and you have these user guides, you get more hypers, and now your pie is filled and you get a badge for documentation. There should also be a button for security stuff, for licensing stuff, all those best practices. And I know you were kind of in on that. The best practices should each have a section in the project maintainer's dashboard. So now if I'm a project maintainer and I need to create documentation, I also want in all of these a button, which is where our AI recommendations are going to come in, which once you click the documentation button, which I don't have set up, but I will, I think, did we set it up? Once you click the documentation button, you're going to get to, here it is. This would be, if you're clicking anywhere in the community on documentation builder, you'd get to this dashboard, and this dashboard would be, you want to create user guides, here's how. You want to create white paper, here's our templates. You want to create meetup slides, here's our templates. Here's what we suggest you fill in on those templates in the tone of your presentation. Or we suggest you use Gamma and make the presentation using the Hyperledger formatted template in Gamma already, or whatever, however we're gonna recommend this community presentation. Same thing, here's the template, here's the graphics you can use, knock yourself out. And checklists, I think that the community needs checklists. If when you listen to Nico talk, you can hear him say, if I had a checklist to go through of everything I needed to move out of incubation, if I had a checklist for, you know, what we needed to do for documentation to get, you know, through that kind of thing. So I always thought that this would be and again, this is when we're done with this presentation to the TOC, I'm going to recommend these things, or we're going to recommend these things. I can't get out of this normally. There we go. In hopes that it works with like a profile card, so you know who you are. Again, you can click the button for the user guide, you can click the button for the library, and again, it would be that Harry Potter kind of library. It would move and change depending on, you know, I have big dreams. I think big. I'm very creative. I don't know if any of this stuff can get done, but who knows? Did that answer your question,
Yes.
or
So
did it
like
confuse you more?
no, I'm like more clearer that on what domain and field I have to work. Like I will now like create dedicated templates for all the like 4 personas, so like we can show to the TOC presentation meet.
Yeah, and
So
again, a lot of the work should be done. I don't want you spending hours and hours and hours on this. These are our recommendations. So if you just do 1 or 2 to show them, and if they want them
okay,
done, they will, you know, like again, do more of a placeholder to talk about what you want to do, rather than, you know, spin your wheels, you know, and your resources actually doing the grunt work. If they want that done, you know, that's the next task force. And again,
okay,
I'm going to
okay,
suggest an AI task force at the end of this too, which I hope we all, I hope
okay.
some leaders will come out of this group for that task force. But anyway, moving along. Oh, we were on the slides. We weren't on the. Yeah, so that's great for the templates, and I almost would like to see more of checklists rather than you doing the work behind the checklists. And the AI stuff is going to be fun. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second as soon as my computer catches up with me. So we'll do the templates, and again, we're not creating all the user guides, but we are going to make suggestions. Oh, this is just nonsense slides. Let's go through these and get rid of them. We're going to make suggestions as to what AI engines. So in other words, if I have a project and I need documentation, So my GitHub repository for other code people is going to be Make the Docs. My meetup presentation I'm going to create. So if anyone wants to do a meetup, they can use my slides and make them their own. I'm going to use Gamma with this, or I'm going to use Beautiful AI with that, or whatever we suggest. But we should have a workflow for creating documentation, a workflow suggestion. Okay, so this is Gianluca's. All right. Make the docs, we talked about that. Templates, we talked about. These are good slides. Okay, and these would come in for your recommendations for this. And this is a great spot for that. If you know, again, we're talking about our recommendations. We've been living with this stuff all summer, and we've been watching AI stuff. We've been seeing how the community operates. Your input is invaluable. So whatever you guys think would help is what we want to hear. And the user guides is the same thing. Okay, so I might, or Arunima might introduce at this point. So we've gone through our committees, we've made our suggestions to the communities, and now from the AI perspective, we're going to say, you know, we think that when we started this, AI wasn't such a hot topic, or at least when I started this task force, AI wasn't such a hot topic, and how it's changed the course of this task force. And you know, whoever is doing this slide will clean it up, but this is kind of where it's going to help. This slide, and then whatever. Again, here are where we're going to show off what we think are the AI tools. I just did this interface from Learn World because I like the way it looked for our community. So I might mock something up on that wiki page that looks a little bit better for this, because they'll add a new section, import a Word file, start with AI. I want our dashboard for user guides to kind of have that field. So that's why that's there. It's just a placeholder slide. And I'll get rid of that when I clean them up this week. This is just, that was nonsense. I'll get that. That just should just be deleted. Oh, my keyboard is so off. Got it. I'll do that later when I figure out what's wrong with my mouse. Okay, so best practices. Now that's an interesting one. She's not on the call, and she can no longer, she sent me an email, she can no longer make it. She got a job. She's working with the MIA group in DC. Great opportunity she found through that connection. Very happy for her. But she's not really going to be able to be on the presentations. She still is doing some work for us, and the best practices task force is wrapping up. So they have in GitHub new recommendations, which again, all we have to do is link to. We don't have to recreate the wheel. And I'll work on this so that the people who are using the best practices, and I don't know if this is too much information for what we're doing, so I'll go and clean that up. Okay, so now real quick, I just want to give you guys, like what I was talking about, the two different approaches. So now these two projects are in incubation and they want to get out of graduation. They didn't know how to do it. They had to figure it out. What you have to do again is that pull request to the TOC, which I didn't know. But they both did that and they got on our calendar. So when they got on the calendar, Cactus said, okay, we want to get to graduated. And they use this, which is a status bar of best practices, security, graduation. And they kind of did their presentation from that. So they talked about their community support. Come on. My computer is being very difficult. I made a mistake. So they talked about their community support. And then these are just all their different pages. So they did a security slide, an infrastructure slide, how they align with the rest of the things in the community, because Cactus is a bridge kind of product where it creates a playground where all the other blockchains can come and play with each other, talk to each other, transfer value with each other, and then go back to their own little houses. It's the best way I can explain Cactus. So then they did their, showed us a little bit about their user guides, their user documentation, and how it looked from what they used. And I have to go back and check their documentation to see if they use Make the Docs. And then they did, again, their best practice badges. Are they scalable? These are questions that I guess were in that template that they thought they needed to address. Standardization, graduation benefits from the community. I really thought they did a better job than Firefly. They were more organized, and you can follow the flow of what they were talking about. Now Firefly just didn't really have many slides, just did this graduation proposal. The two new maintainers, because that's the big thing with Firefly, is having people out of Kaleido be maintainers. And then this, which to me, you showing me your GitHub repository instead of that nice slide I just saw from Cactus. I don't know. I like the slides from Cactus. Again, this is that same badge, but they didn't do it. Cactus pulled it out and did a presentation. Maybe we create that presentation template slide for them. Here, show this to the TOC when you're getting out of incubation, and have a slide for each one of those points. They showed the documentation. And so that was basically it. So now the part of the presentation we're at now is just going to be our recommendations. And so if each one wants to do a section here with your name on it and your recommendations and a demo, that's great. My recommendations are going to fall again with not so much, oh, what is all this stuff? All right, I'm going to take the slides out that we just saw from the Firefly and the Cactus thing. They don't need to be there. And then we're going to talk about the AI. These are my recommendations, are the dashboards and the tokenized badging. We might as well practice what we preach with blockchain and have our entire community tokenized. That's my soapbox. Oh yeah, there was a talk about organizing the YouTube channel, and the people from Onboarding are doing that. So we really don't have to do that. But again, everywhere we go for information, we should have a link to the YouTube channel. I mean, it's just nothing but information. And Kasha, if she's going to be around and available, has the resources, she'll speak to that for us too. Okay. So our AI strategy, we're going to say, as a recommendation, we talked to you about each of the committee's recommendation at this point, and each one of you will have talked about what you have suggested. But again, we want to talk a little bit about how AI is changing enterprise documentation efforts as a whole. And again, we don't need to say any of all of these things, or if we have demo products for any of these, I think we should show them. I guess that AI educator for me is that, oh, look how off my mouse is. That is so bizarre. For me, the AI educator is that Learn Worlds dashboard, but that's just the only one that I came up with. And again, this is just, if I find articles and stuff that has a lot of AI information, I'm just dropping them in here. I'll go through them. You guys can go through them, see if they're helping you in any way. And again, so this recommendation page is going to go right after Kasha's onboarding. And I intend to set up a metaverse by next week with this for the library. It might not be finished, but it will be enough of a demo for me to show the TOC how I think our library information should be stored in a metaverse, so it's 24/7. People can get access to it at all times, and that's going to be my demo. So this is a big one for us to talk about, and I know Gianluca, you might have done some work on that one. If anybody has anything to say at this point about the AI tools and what they want to do, now's your chance. Okay. Instead, if you want to just add some slides with recommendations for like maybe AI powered environments, chatbots, whatever, any of these enterprise tools, if you have any experience with them or know anything about them or think that they would help the community, please put a slide in there so we know to talk about it next week when we're going over the slides for the TOC. So next week, we're going to actually do the presentation. Wednesday, we're going to go over it again with Arunima. Oh yeah, this is great. This is awesome. Yeah, for onboarding, I like this. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? I'll send an invite out for Wednesday, same time, and we'll go over the slide then, and then we'll do it again on Monday before next Thursday's. It's not this Thursday, it's the following Thursday's TOC meeting. I got a thumbs up for Poor, so I guess we're good. Kajal, have a great day. Gianluca, thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Just a question. The link for the meeting.
I will probably. It'll probably be. Let me just do this real quick if I can.
I have also a question, Bobby.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you switch to the PPT, please? This slide 40.
Can I go back to the slide for what?
Slide 40.
40. Yep.
So I wanted to ask, what is this like creator documentation lab, AI powered environment where like this thing, what we have to like do in this thing? I was like trying to work on this part, but I got confused and like wanted to clarify like what this thing is exactly about.
I think that more what I envisioned this would be that more of this type of thing. So a place where the community can go and, oh, I want to create documentation. You know, I guess a lab is the wrong word for it. Because again, for me, when you do this stuff, it's either in GitHub or the wiki page right now, and it gets confusing for me which one's which. So this would be definitely a resource for user guides. But I'm not sure if that was your question. Let's just go over.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep, that's it. Yep. You know, so if I want to create something, I'll get the template and then also that instructions on how to use it. Okay. And again, if you think, I mean, these are just what I brainstormed on this page for recommendations. I'm going to do this one, a demo for this one. If there's any other demos, if I've missed something, if there's anything you can think of that can go here, please add it and do a demo on it, because I want to wow the TOC, and I'm not sure if I'm going to invite Robert Reeves to the TOC one. Or we might talk about that next week if we want him at this one, if we want to wait to do the meetup with him. But I want to wow him with our AI information so much that we might even get this task force to be a Linux Foundation task force, not just a Hyperledger task force. So let's see what opportunities this will open up for us.
Bobby, I have one question.
Okay.
At what time do we have our TOC meeting on Thursday?
The TOC meeting is at 10 o'clock, so it's an hour later than our normal meeting.
Okay.
So they run at 10 a.m., which we usually meet at 9 a.m. I know I'm transferring it in the wrong time zone, but I'm not sure. I know yours is, that would make it, what, 7:30 or 6:30?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, something, or maybe 8:30, I'm not sure. But yeah, so the TOC meeting just starts an hour after our usual 9 o'clock meeting. And again, I will send out a link. I'm going to use, this is why I wanted to do this before we left. Let's just, so we don't have to do it. I want to see if anybody's using the link we're on right now at Wednesday at that time. And if nobody's using it, we'll just use that link. My mouse is off just enough to make me go crazy. Let's see if anybody's using that link. Nope, nobody uses the link. So go to the same link on the homepage. I get it to open because my mouse is off, but go to the same link for Monday and just use it for Wednesday, same time. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody have a great afternoon, morning, and I will talk to everybody on Wednesday.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Bye. Bye.